I was getting more bites. I felt like I was catching the same quality of fish. And the fact is now, there's so many different baits you can put on that, jig head. I mean, a Ned rig is really a simple presentation. And it can be as subtle or as aggressive as you want it. You can pop it like a tube.
Yep.
And there's been days where I've had to pop it. There's days when I have to dead stick and let it sit there, just like a tube. I'm sure you've dead sticked a tube too. Sometimes that's how they want it.
Yeah.
But, I'll upsize my bait on a Ned rig. I'll make it smaller. They've got Ned rig tubes, so I guess I'm not technically, using the traditional tube in that regard because the jig head's on the outside. It's more of still a Ned rig because you got the TRD tubes and stuff like that. I don't generally use those, but I'll use similar presentations if I feel like I need a little bit of action, with the tentacles or something like that. But there's just so much more you can do with it. It's much more versatile than your traditional tube jig.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I really like to use it.
Well,
over that.
I got to give you that because JK, I just started using the Ned rig on the Chesapeake.
No.
Amongst the grass.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
And what I discovered, the strike to catch is 100%.
Yes, it is.
It's 100%. It's like it's 100%, man. You get a bite, he's caught. I've seen that.
Yep. I think the tube is just the profile is so wide that all that plastic gets balled up in their mouth a lot of times, and that's what prevents you from getting a better hookup.
Right. I have a theory about the smallmouth's mouth, which is so strong that it can grab a hold of that big tube and you can't move the hook inside his mouth, and he opens his mouth and it just flies out. So
that does happen.
Yeah, you have to move the hook to get penetration, and
they literally clamp on it.
Yeah,
where they don't
like
actually have the hook.
Right.
They just are clamped on to the bait.
Yep, and they open their mouth and your heart and dreams are broken.
Pretty much.
So that I got to give you the nod. What I am curious about is up on the Great Lakes, there's rocky, zebra mussel infested.
Yes.
What is the jig head that you've settled on to Ned rig up there?
So I'm an owner guy through and through. Owner, super sharp hooks. That's what I use for almost everything. I'll change my hard baits and stuff, but I use a custom Ned rig head. It's a similar shape as the pill, the pill
It is
head.
pill?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is, but I have it made special with owner super needle points. Okay, it's a lighter hook, but I feel like you're getting much better, easier penetration with line way out because you've got that extra, line resistance with the water resistance, having it a little bit further from the boat. Say if you're drifting,
Yep.
you're able to get that hook penetration much easier with a lighter wire hook, but it's not light enough that you're going to bend them. I've tinkered with this. Because I've used some heavier gauge hooks and I've lost more fish doing it, and I went to a little bit lighter wire hook and I'm not losing them.
All right, so now so I don't have as much, I remember learning how to drift with Pete at Oneida.
That's right. Yeah.
Smoked him.
Yep.
Oh, he was practicing with you for that tournament?
Yep.
Smoked him in practice. Wind got up, we started drifting, he started dragging a tube. And you were 100% that day, but maybe they were just eating it. But that's what I'm trying to figure out. What's the big pain point here? It's what I'm hearing from you, correct me if I'm wrong, is it's not that the tubes stopped getting bites. It's not necessarily, you're talking about it being more efficient. You're talking about it's a better strike to catch ratio, just like the drop shot was when people started doing drop shots instead of tubes. So is it just that nobody's made a good tube jig? Because a lot of them have that medium wire, and you're way out there, and you're talking about super light wire. I'm thinking, my school of thought being, okay, if I come up north sometime and do that smallmouth thing again, I want to try to go do a tube because nobody's throwing it apparently. So that's my school of thought, is try to get bites. But is that now the fact that you would go to something more light wire? Is that the biggest pain point here between the two?
No, I don't think that is the biggest pain point. And I think it's not the fact that people aren't throwing it, because people still do.
And the information Bass University provides isn't your basic run-of-the-mill fishing video. This is specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly.